Welcome back to another episode of the Scale Smart podcast. I'm your host, Jacob, and also the founder of Next Scale Growth. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined by the COO of Cool Digital Solutions, Ilgın Kezer. Ilgın, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for inviting.
It's a pleasure. Ilgın, before we get into the flow of the podcast and get into the conversation, I just want to ask you a little bit more about what your experience consists of and what you guys do at Cool Digital Solutions.
Yeah, Cool Digital is a software development company, and we are focused on innovation technologies. So we position ourselves as an innovation partner for enterprise companies. So what we do is keeping the software development service at the core, but also providing with our network for business development, for marketing, research, or even going through the investment. We can start with a spark of an idea and take it to scale up version. We also, this has led us to building a venture builder where we have found our own sparks of ideas and took them to the real markets. Right now we have 4 startups and they're going pretty well. So basically we have 2 branches of work.
And obviously, being the COO at Cool Digital, what does your job role consist of?
I'm actually like the eye that sees everything, basically. So everything that happens within the company, I will have information about it because somebody has to know everything. And this cannot be the CEO because our founder is our also CEO, and he's responsible for giving strategic decisions or leading us, like motivating us. But at the same time, if he deals with how the project goes or who's going to be hired or which branches are we going to open to? This will give him only some noise. So I am responsible for cutting off the noise for the CEO of the company.
Amazing, amazing. And you guys at Cool Digital have grown from a startup in 2012 to a team of 50 now, working with some big global names. So what would you say, Ilgin, were some of the biggest challenges you had when scaling the company to what it is now? And still, what are some of the challenges which you still face today?
So the biggest challenge we have is making people believe that their idea is good, because sometimes they have an idea, but they say, okay, we will do this, but we're not sure that it will go on. So we are like the facilitator of those ideas, and we are the one who is pushing them to go through, because it's always very scary to start a new business. And when it comes to enterprises like the ones we work, it's even scary for them because they already have a job and they have their own agenda going on. And at the same time, they are now changing their agenda to something completely new. So when it comes to innovation projects like this, it's hard for them to keep them also motivated. I think this is one of the biggest challenges we have right now. I guess another one could be the belief in AI technologies, because everywhere we go, we hear about AI. Probably right now I'm using, I don't know, like 15 apps at once. And I'm sure that 10 of them are already using AI. I can use them directly or they use it on the background. So yes, it's important to include AI in our projects, but not every project requires AI. So we have to make this distinction. And that's a second challenge that we have right now.
And in a fast moving AI and software market, how are you guys staying ahead through different services, talent, culture? Like, what's been your secret to sustaining differentiation?
So at the core of our company, we have, I think, we put having fun and joy at the core of our company. So when some projects come to us, we say, okay, this is yet another e-commerce project. So let's put this one step back and let's work on something new. And even if the budget's lower, we first consider if this project's culture fits our culture, or
Mm.
if this project's going to be scalable in the future. So we have a three-step concept that's called sustainable, scalable, and global. But for sustainability, I'm not meaning only like the environmental issues. I mean, so if the project's live today, is it going to be live in 5 or 10 more years because we want it to? Is it scalable? So right now we're using with 10 people, 100 people, but we want to reach out to larger audiences. And finally, it should be global because, I mean, we are going global. Yes, yes, acting local, but going global. So if I'm working on the Turkish market or the US market right now, it should also be compatible with European markets because we don't know what technology will bring us. Even it's even more clear today. So every day we hear a new technology coming, and in order to be adaptive to these kind of changes, I think keeping these three concepts in mind is very crucial.
That's really great, and that's something unique which I've actually never heard before. And I think I think what a lot of what a lot of companies do is they look at a project and think, no, that's not enough money for us, or no, this, that, and the other, and they make excuses not to do the project. Whereas if you actually sit back and think, okay, this isn't probably our core offer, but could we potentially do like a downsell, or could we do something which isn't our usual offer in order just to get a client in the door? Because you probably know as well as I do, Ilgin, once you've got a client in the door, it's a lot easier to get more projects out of them because you show your expertise, you show what you can do, and it's a lot easier. The hardest part is getting them in the door. So I don't understand sometimes why companies, if they can fulfill a project and obviously make sense for the company, because obviously some companies aren't going to do a project where they're going to be like negative 50%, for example, right? But if it makes sense for the company, I was listening to a podcast a few weeks ago now. I was flying, meeting a client, and I was listening to a podcast, and it basically said most companies don't make money on the initial project. They make money on like the upsell or the second project or something which is like extra to the company which they had. Because like I just mentioned, once you've got that prospect in the door, it's so much easier to sell them something else. So I think what you just mentioned there is really, really important. So thank you for sharing that. Going into the next question, Ilgin, you guys brand yourself as AI native, and you also have an AI lead who's ex Google, right? So, what AI applications or transformations are you currently leading, and how do you see AI shifting the software service landscape?
So yeah, that's a good question. Actually, what we have been working with AI since like 7 years or 6 years. The first project that we built was a fintech project. So we were working on algorithms that will manage portfolios. Or another AI project that we have done, it's about like four years now, and that's a research database. And from there, you make research about whatever you're looking for. It could be a market outreach, it could be a technology development, or something like that. So it's working as a research agent with you. So yes, you have ChatGPT, or you have Perplexity, or you have any other AI that you can count right now. But these, you know about hallucination, right? That's right. That's a fact. And all the AI developers are talking about the same thing. But in this research database that we have done, that's tailor-made research, and that's coming from real researchers. Yes, AI writes the use case, but there's always a human effect on it, because I think still as humans, we have emotional intelligence. So we have to keep it as our core strength and know the value of it while using also AI. Because even if we don't want to see AI anywhere, or if you want to get away from it, now it's impossible, because all the devices that you have in your hands are now using it behind to somehow work on your data. So what we can do is to use this as a tool and add our emotional intelligence into it to get the most of it, most out of it. And what was your second question? Sorry, I forgot that.
So now you're testing me. I think I remember the question I asked, and you've answered it pretty great there. Um, it's like, how are you guys using AI within what you're doing in order to kind of progress?
Yeah, okay. And so another way that we use AI is to transform the way that people do business. So in enterprises, it's not just like, you know, it's not a moment that you can share, that you can change the way you do the business. So we're talking about thousands of people that work under the same company. So when they want to do something about AI, they just can start from a very, very, very small point of it. But what we do is helping them find that point, because they come with ideas. Of course, all departments have their own ideas that they can transform the way that they do the business. And all of them have brilliant ideas, but they're always thinking too big. So in order to start from somewhere, you can just transform, let's say, the way you log into your intranet. That can even also be with AI, because it's always very important to start somewhere. It's when you start, the rest will, come along the way, I think. So using AI here and there and also there. So we're not trying to do that. We're just trying to help businesses start somewhere. And if necessary, of course, we make our most to include newest technologies into it. But not all project requires AI, I think.
And where do you see the future of the industry heading?
Yeah. Well, I think this could be a balloon, I think. I mean, the AI technologies, because we're seeing it everywhere. Same happened with several different technologies before in the past. I'm not going to mention it now, but we had very different concepts and like different worlds in the technology. I mean, everything has passed, right? So yes, AI is a fact, but it's just going to be staying at, I mean, it's right now it's making itself a market, I think. So just like every business, every startup that was born before AI. So you first try to do everything you can, but in the end, you have a niche, right? So I think the same will happen with the AI technologies. We are seeing it everywhere. I mean, I've been to Web Summit, I've been to VivaTech. There are like thousands of AI startups. I was like shocked, and they almost do the same thing. I mean, I found one startup. So uh, they said they were giving us dermatological products like creams and stuff, but they are curated with AI. And I said, okay, so are you going to mix some stuff like chemical stuff and give me a new cream? No, they said they will just find the right cream for me. And that's a whole startup. I mean, it's everywhere. This is not innovation. This is not like brilliant idea. I think it's going to find itself a niche and stay there. And of course, whenever we need it, it's a tool under our hands. But that will be all, I guess.
And I know you mentioned in the podcast you guys want to reach wider audiences and obviously get the point across with AI to different people. But what are some of the goals you've got for the future, Ilgin, with the company in terms of growing, expanding?
Right now, we have a global outreach going towards the USA, and Germany, and Poland, and London, and also some parts of the MENA region. Currently, we have close to projects in Dubai. So we already have a global outreach, but we are just very flexible. That's a very good advantage. Turkish, and we can speak English, and that's enough, I think, because I can assure the quality of our engineers. I can assure the quality of the way that we are doing business, and I'm very confident about it. And there is no language barrier because everybody talks English here. So there's no language barrier. And for our future, I think that we're going to expand further in the US market, because I see the US SMEs and also enterprises moving faster than, I mean, compared to the European market or the MENA region. So I'm also confident in the Turkish market, but the second place I will go to will be the USA. And actually, I'll be there in September and October. Anyone who wants to talk about an opportunity also.
Amazing. And Ilgin, if people wanted to reach out and find out a little bit more about yourself or also the company, where's the best place for them to go?
Yeah, they can visit our website, letsbecool.com, and find me on LinkedIn. Probably you might tag me somewhere, and
Yeah.
they can reach out to me through LinkedIn. And I'll be open to all kinds of communications.
Amazing. Well, Ilgın, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. It's been great speaking to you today.
Okay.
Thank you.